Next Level podcast from Lynn Studios on the Texas Gulf Coast.
Engineering, construction, design, and development. We're building Texas.
Let's get into it.
Okay, hey, we're here with Mitchell. Right?
What's going on, Brandon?
What is going on? So this is the first time that we're doing something like this. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. Thanks for letting me spend money on equipment.
Apparently somebody wants to hear from us. So
Yeah, let's do this.
I'm going to do my best not to sound like a Joe Rogan podcast.
Throw it up there. Yeah. All right, well, cool. So we'll just do a real quick intro, talk about who you are, who the company is. I'll introduce myself, I guess, real quick as the host. So I'm Brandon Cox. I do marketing for Lynn Engineering, and I'm here with Mitchell today, and he runs the show, man. So
yeah, so my name is Mitchell. I manage all the engineering ins and outs for all of our various offices. So yeah, just try to keep all the monkeys in the zoo.
Nice. And the zoo keeps getting bigger.
The zoo keeps getting bigger, and we need to find some good monkeys. So
That's awesome. Well, cool. For all of you listening, checking this out, we appreciate it. We're going to do more of these and get better as we go, obviously. But let's have some fun with it. So, Mitchell, why don't you take a few minutes and just tell us about the company in general, how it came to be, where we've been, where we're going.
yeah, so company was founded in 2008, I believe. Stuart Lynn, obviously being the founder, first employee one. Started the company as a result of his house burning down. The house burnt down, had to rebuild the house, found out that the house needed to be inspected by a professional engineer to get windstorm certification so we can have wind and hail coverage on the property. He calls the state. When I say the state, I'm referring to TDI. And TDI says, hey, man, you're an engineer inspected and certified on your own. He said, man, I can do that. Well, come to find out, he was put on a list that was publicly advertised, and his phone starts ringing off the hook for windstorm services for their projects. Fast forward probably about 18 months, and he left his previous employer, which we'll get back to that in a bit, and went out and started his own windstorm engineering business. So in the beginning, it was only alteration projects, mostly re-roof inspections, re-siding inspections, replacement of window and door inspections. Over the next year or so probably in 2009, 2010, is when he really got into doing design for new construction, doing design for residential and commercial structures, and then also doing the inspections on those projects during construction. From there, we acquired the client list in Rockport. So we expanded. That was our first expansion, was down to the Rockport office, which doubled our clients, doubled our revenue. And then in 2013, opened up the Corpus Christi office. And then 2014 is when I started as a full-time employee. I technically started with the company in 2008 doing random stuff here and there during the summer. I felt like I was employed just to keep Stuart entertained. But yeah, got my feet wet in the engineering business in my senior year of high school, and then worked during the summers throughout college, and really got to watch the company grow. So yeah, I started 2014. I graduated from Lamar University. Graduated on a Saturday, started work on a Monday. So it's pretty much been one place the whole time. And then the next big growth that we had would have been in 2018 when we acquired John D. Mercer and Associates. This allowed us to diversify the services that we're able to provide. Besides just doing structural and windstorm, it's now allowed us to do municipal civil. It didn't tie us to just one service line. Bringing John on board, John has 40 plus years experience. He'll let you know if you ask him. But yeah, he just raised the level of skill and quality and experience that we had here at the company.
And he's like a legend in the engineering space, right?
Yeah, you're going to be hard pressed to talk to anyone in and around the coastal bend that works on municipal projects that doesn't know who John Mercer is. So yeah, a legend. I guess you could say he is a legend.
Well,
I know you probably won't even listen to this, so it won't matter.
right.
Yeah.
Well, what was the joke a while back? I remember somebody talking that you guys registered engineer numbers. Like his is really, really early on.
Yeah. So if you don't know, PEs, professional engineers, they all have a license number, and the license number is sequential. And you can usually tell how old the engineer is or how much experience the engineer has based on the license number. So, for example, mine is 125070. So I'm the 125th and 70th engineer that's been registered. And I don't have John's memorized, but I think it's in the 30 or 40,000s. So there's been almost 100,000 engineers between him and me, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that was in 2018. And then we were, since I've started, the goal has always been to just like serve the client. The client wants to do something, we figure out a way to get it done. But we were continually getting requests from clients that we were doing the structural for. So we would design out, all the framing for, 10 floor plans for houses that are going to be built inside of a subdivision. Well, the developers would come to us and like, hey, we want you guys to do the engineering on the subdivision because we like working with you guys when the houses go to construction. It'd be easy for us if you were a one-stop shop. Your Edna office is designing the public infrastructure that the subdivisions are tapping into. Why don't you guys just develop a subdivision? So one of the things we decided to do is in 19 we acquired Hickman Consulting Engineers. They're based out of they're in the DFW market, but based out of Grapevine, and that just allowed us to add experienced individuals to the team that have land development experience, project management experience, and could kind of help us serve those clients who were, begging us to do their work. And that's been fun. I mean, that's been the last big service line that we've added, over the last, that was in 19.
Yeah.
And that's been fun.
Today, 2023, what does Lynn Engineering offer?
So Stuart here, I'd say everything. If you want to do it, figure out a way to get it done. But our bread and butter is high volume general contractors for the windstorm and structural side. We love working with architects as the structural engineer of record or as the civil engineer. We love working with private developers who are trying to take a raw piece of land and turn it into something usable, a commercial space, a single family residential subdivision, or any type of land development project. And then we also do a really good job of taking care of clients that have municipal needs, water, public infrastructure, water, sewer, drainage, and roads. So that's what we do now.
It's a lot more than re-roofs, huh?
Yeah, right. A lot more than re-roofs. We don't do much transportation work. We don't do much environmental work. We can do hydraulics and hydrology to a certain point, but yeah, that's where we're at right now.
And the things we don't do, we've got relationships with people who do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
So, well, that's cool, man. So, engineering is complicated, right? I mean, there's a reason you go to school for it and get a license. Not everybody can do it. So, I understand, what we try to do is make it as easy as possible on the customer and kind of simplify the process, hold their hand, walk them through it, do the hard stuff for them. What's the approach to the design and engineering process that ensures, the high quality for the client, but also the ease of use?
Yeah, so the first thing you always want to look at when you're getting started on a project is how is this going to affect the last person that touches this thing? Whether if you're doing a public project, how is the person that's going to be tapping into this line to service his house, how easy is it going to be for him to find this water line and tap into it? How easy is it going to be for that framer who's putting up those studs out in the field who, maybe can't even read a plan set to construct the project based on the design intent that we had at the beginning? So I think the first thing you have to look at is how is this going to help the last person that touches this thing, whether it's the end user, whether it's the person that is actually putting the project together, or if it's the person that's just bidding on the job. I think that's the first step that you probably need to take, that you should take. And then on top of that, what are the social, environmental, and code requirements that this project has to meet? All those things have to be kept in consideration when you're working on any type of project, no matter what the service line is.
So, off the top of your head, just recently, walk me through like a super challenging project. Like what comes to mind somewhere where we really had to solve a problem, and kind of show me the magic. What do we do?
Okay. Let's see. In the last 6 months, so we just got approved for construction on a single-family residential subdivision up in the DFW market. Project is Bear Ridge. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the project name, but the issue is this client has a very large tract of land that's in a very desirable piece of the DFW market. And if you're not familiar, that market is kind of exploding right now. This project has thoroughfare issues. It has issues with TxDOT. It has very undesirable grading characteristics. There's essentially a huge, when I say huge and relative for the site, it's a very large hill in the middle of the property that we had to design around. And on top of all that, if you work with developers, you know developers like things done quickly, and they like it done efficiently, and they like it done on budget. So this project had all four of those issues crammed into one. And we were able to meet the client's needs from a budget perspective. We were able to meet his needs from a scheduling perspective. And we were also able to take advantage of some of the relationships that we have with other sub-consultants that helped us get around some of the issues that we're not A players at, right? So I don't design 25-foot retaining walls that go through large hills on properties, but we were able to solve that issue for the client. I'm not an expert on transportation and traffic studies, but we were able to get some sub-consultants in on the project that helped us get it pushed through and keep the client's project on schedule. So that was a big one for us, I think.
Very cool. And talking about you not being an expert on certain things, but let's talk about the team in general. I think a lot of people don't realize how many people are actually a part of Lynn Engineering, right?
Yeah, so I think the last count, we have 58 employees. 58 employees.
7 offices?
Seven offices. And PEs, I think we have 8 PEs on staff. We have 10 EITs. We have a ton of designers and people that help with project management. So, yeah, we have a pretty good staff.
It's a long way from one guy doing re-roofs. Huh?
Yeah. Grown a lot.
Very cool. So you got this big team, you're growing, you're getting all this new kinds of work. How do you stay on top of industry trends and learning new things as it comes up and code changes and all that? Like there's so much activity, and then you still got to best serve the client. You got to know what's going on.
Yeah, so a lot of our clients are, they like doing things a certain way. So it's almost like us dragging the way the clients like to do business. If there is a trend change or a code change or something that they weren't prepared for, we kind of just have to educate them on those code changes and technical changes that occur. But one of the big things that we do, especially on the public infrastructure side, is we talk to contractors. So we're like, hey, we designed it this way. How did how easy was it for you to install? How easy, did you have any issues with the products that we spec'd out? And what can we do better next time to make sure that the project's more successful for you? And we do that on the windstorm and structural side also. You can specify a product that maybe has a higher capacity and gets the job done, but how big of a pain in the butt is it for that product to get installed? What's the lead time on that thing? How much skill does it take for you to install that particular hold down or clip or strap or whatever it may be? So it's important for us to keep the communication between us and our contractors and clients to make sure that we're designing and providing a service that meets their needs.
Okay. I'm thinking specifically on windstorm and structural side, about the time I came on board was when the code changed for the permanent fastener, right? Mm-hmm. And, the meetings I was going to and attending, the Home Builders Association things, these, just various, everybody was upset about the code change and didn't know what to do. And we kind of, as an engineering firm, took the lead on finding a solution for our clients. And, I feel like we do that more often than not, and probably more often than our clients are used to having.
Yeah, and I think the issue is that TDI decided to make that code change, but they didn't provide a lot of useful information to the contractors, the people that are actually going to be building these projects, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So what we kind of did is what we did do is watered that information down into a digestible form that
it's a one-pager.
Yeah, it's not like a 6-page IBC excerpt that you have to read through and digest and figure out what they're trying to convey to you. Us as engineers, we read that stuff every day, but for a general contractor, he's not as, he's not reading the code book every year. Most of them should, I know, but they don't. So what we were able to do is kind of put that into a digestible form that allowed them to, meet the requirements of the new code.
Mm.
So, yeah, and that was helpful. I mean,
yeah, I just remember when we rolled that kind of communication out. We got a huge response back. Like, hey, you're the first ones to tell us actually what we can do or what we should do.
Right, and not only that, but like TDI would make a change, but they don't have a Rolodex of general contractors. They don't have emails for any of these guys. They don't have phone numbers for these people.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way for them to directly contact these general contractors and people that are actually building these projects. Us, keeping up with all that information. We have a 13,000 person contact list that we could blast all that stuff out to make sure that the accurate information was going out.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about projects. What big stuff's going on right now? What's your favorite one we're working on?
Favorite project we're working on right now? I think probably the project I've been the most involved with that I would say is my favorite is the Valor Park project that we're working on here in Bay City. The Valor Park project is one of Stuart's personal projects, so it's something that he's developing on his own. But doing that, he's using the in-house resources, and I've kind of been running herd on that project as a project manager and designing a lot of the aspects of that job as well. It's been fun.
That's a cool project. Here in Bay City, where housing inventory has been lagging for years, right? 228 lots on 54.5 acres.
Yeah, and that could change. We just we fully designed the entire site, but we're currently only permitted for the first phase.
Yeah.
The
general idea.
Yeah, right.
Big new neighborhood.
That's right.
Been a long time since Bay City's had one of those.
Yeah, and it's also what makes the project interesting is it is inside of. I have residential all around me, so it's more like an infill project versus me just annexing a chunk of land that's currently outside of the city limits.
Yeah, it's not sprawl.
No. I mean, it's right there in one of the busier neighborhoods in town. So,
very cool. So, a lot of projects going on, a lot of employees in house, juggling a lot at once. How do you manage communication with clients, with staff? How do you make sure everybody's on the same page all the time?
Yeah, so with clients, it's a little bit easier because I can dole out that communication to the people that are managing those projects. So I have my project managers who are constantly updating the client on the status of their projects, especially on the land development and civil and in the public infrastructure side. On the internal side, it's a little bit tougher because they want to talk to me all the time or talk to Stuart all the time or
there's a line at your door most of the time.
Yeah. So we try to get out in front of that. So one thing we do that I don't know how many other companies do it, but we do have a quarterly state of the company. So every quarter, everyone in the organization is aware about what we did last quarter, what we're doing next quarter.
It's a very structured all hands meeting.
Right. And then we also have everyone in the organization sits on at least one weekly meeting where information is cascaded down all the way from the top leadership team meeting all the way down to the Monday morning draftsman meeting, the inspector meeting on Thursday, the Thursday meeting in Edna, the Tuesday meeting in Grapevine. So all that communication filters its way up to the leadership team. So I think we have a pretty good system getting communication out. It could always be better. But yeah, we take advantage of technology also. So we're a real big Teams company. So everyone in the organization is able to IM each other on Teams, set up Teams meetings in a second. At the beginning, it wasn't the best, but yeah,
we figured it out.
Yeah, it all we have people spread out. It's not as much as I wish we were all in one office. the market can't really bear having 60 engineering employees in one office, so we are spread out. So we do have to take advantage of Teams meetings and all the technology we have to make
To that
it seem like
end,
they're sitting in the same office.
It's a benefit to the customer, right? If we were all in one spot and somebody 3 hours away needed a consult, whatever, so it's good that we're spread out, but it brings its own challenges.
Yeah, and it's important that the engineer that you're working with is familiar with the local requirements. The way we do things in Port Aransas are different than what we're doing up in Keene, Texas. What we're doing in Corpus is different than some of the way they do things here in Bay City. So yeah, it is important to have a local presence, so you're familiar with the way that the local contractors like to do business. You're familiar with the local reviewing entities, the things that they're looking for. It's tough to have a successful project if you're working with an engineer that doesn't have a familiarity with the region.